All right, today what I'm going to talk about is getting strong shoulders. If you have any problems with rotator cuff or labrum issues or whatever, watch this video because the goal is to build a solid structure in the shoulder so that you don't have any issues. So you can get stronger, continue to train, not have pain, not have lifelong issues with your shoulders. One of the biggest problems in the gym today is when people bust their shoulders because they're doing incline bench or they're doing dumbbell military press. Very wrong.
Just doing my workout.
So I hope this helps. Today what I'm going to talk about is dumbbell military press and how to avoid injuries, specifically rotator cuff and labrum issues, right? So you want to avoid those issues and build a strong shoulder around your connective tissue inside the joint, the glenohumeral joint. That's the goal today, and we're going to go over. Now I'm going to give you a little story about me. I have no labrum, zero in my left shoulder, zero labrum. That means I can't put my arm back here. Here I can put my arm all the way back, but I can't put my arm back here at all. Completely broken. I did that when I was rollerblading when I was 19.
Damn those rollerblades.
I blew my labrum out at 19 rollerblading, which was dumb, but whatever. Then I got surgery at 25 by Dr. Bose, this amazing doctor. This dude was for the Oakland A's athletics, the baseball team. He was the pitcher's surgeon. So I had one of the best in the world for shoulders. I ended up blowing my shoulder out again after the surgery. My labrum repaired and it's torn completely. I have no labrum in my left shoulder. The goal is, when in this video, I want to help you get strong, develop strong shoulders so that you don't have to deal with any pain, limitations, or any of that stuff. I'm living proof it works. So if we watch this video, it's gonna really help you build strong shoulders. Boom. Here, and then also it's going to help you avoid any injuries, specifically rotator cuff as well as labrum issues. All right, the number one thing you want to pay attention to when you're doing any sort of military press, dumbbell or barbell, but we're going to go over dumbbells today, is make sure you don't internally rotate your shoulders. When you internally rotate your shoulders, you jack up your entire glenohumeral joint, your whole shoulder girdle, everything goes wrong. And basically what you're doing is you're putting all the tension on the connective tissue and not on the muscle. Sure, some muscle will work, but you're putting way too much load on your connective tissue. So I'm going to show you right here exactly what I mean. Now I'm going to go over seated dumbbell military press in a second, but right now I want to show you the correct way standing dumbbell military press. Here, if you see my shoulders here, see the dumbbells are not here. They're not here in this position. See, that hurts my shoulders just doing that. You want to make sure that when you have your chest up and your shoulder blades are retracted and depressed, and what you're going to do is you're going to press up from here. Boom. Just like this. Boom. What you want to avoid, do not internally rotate. What happens is when you move the dumbbells, when you flatten them like this, make them straight against your head, you internally rotate your shoulders, and that tears up your shoulders bad. So the first rule on making sure that you avoid injuries and build your shoulder strong is press with a slight angle. See that angle here? See how the dumbbell is moved slightly? It's not here. It's slight angle, just like that. Boom, and then press. Doing that alone will save your shoulders from just a ton of injuries. All right, the second point that you really want to pay attention is you don't want to raise your shoulders. You do not want to raise your shoulders. I'm going to show you what it looks like here. The goal is when you're seated or when you're standing, the same thing, don't let your shoulders come up, but it's a lot easier to control it when you're seated too. So you want to make sure you sit effectively, correctly. I'll show you that in just a second. The goal is here, when you're pressing here, we want to make sure our shoulders, right? We don't want to be here in this position. Our shoulders are not internally rotated, right? We want to make sure there's a slight angle. I don't know, about 10, 15 degrees maybe. I'm not really good at math, but so here, it's just like that. We don't want to be here in this position, right? We want to be right about here, and then we press. Now you want to make sure you pay attention to how flat your shoulder girdle is, your entire shoulder girdle. And your shoulder girdle is your clavicles, your traps, your delts, the whole line of it, right? You want to make sure that you're in line the entire time. You keep flat. You don't want to start raising up, meaning when you press, see how my shoulders stay flat here? Boom. What you don't want to do is do this. The heavier it gets, you see this in the gym all the time. A lot of guys will press here. Like that, especially with barbells. So dumbbells, it's a lot easier to control. Here, boom. You do this by keeping your shoulder blades retracted into press and drive those shoulder blades back and down here in this position. You see my shoulders? They're flat. They're not here in this position. What that does, keeping your shoulder girdle flat, takes all of the bad pressure off your cervical spine. When you're here, especially when you're internally rotated, but when you're here and you raise your shoulders, your cervical spine, all that fascia, all that connective tissue takes a ton of bad pressure.
Pressure?
You do not want that at all. So you want to make sure when you're pressing, you're here. You keep your shoulder blades retracted and depressed. That's how you keep the shoulders from coming up, number one. Number two is just be conscious of not letting your shoulders come to your ears here like this. Boom, so it looks like this. Third thing I want to go over is foot position. I'm going to show you exactly how to have your feet positioned correctly so that you can keep the weight on your heels. Use your glutes to stabilize, not your low back to stabilize. What that means is that my feet here are not ever supposed to be back here. What that does, if you put your feet all the way back, it anteriorly translates your body. It means you're going to go forward. You're going to shoot your body forward like this. It's inevitable. The more weight you have on the upper part of your body, the more your body's going to anteriorly translate. So we want to avoid that because that's going to lead to internal rotation and really bad pressure on your rotator cuff and your neck. So what we want to do is we want to have an angle here. We want about 100 or 95 degree angle in our knee complex at all times. All times when you do any sort of seated press, military press, any kind of press actually. All right, you want all that pressure to be on your heels, meaning about 90, maybe even 95% of your weight on your heels, especially as you're doing heavy presses. You want to push that weight, your body weight and any other pressure you're getting from the dumbbells into that heel. What happens if you start going on your toes, you're going to anteriorly translate and that weight's going to shoot forward. And that, when the bottom goes forward, the upper body's going to follow too. See the difference? Boom, versus here. Heels, 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 and you want to push all of your body weight and the dumbbell weight into your heels as you press up with the dumbbell. Boom, it's all the weight there. All right, there you go. You got 3 things you can do to get your shoulders stronger, bigger if you want them, but stronger for sure, more stable, and avoid injuries. If you already have injuries, all this stuff is crucial. You have to do it. You have to do this stuff. If you don't do it, you're just going to keep re-injuring it and getting worse and worse and worse. My doctor told me, after my doctor both told me, I would never be able to bench press again after my surgery. He told me that. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. And I didn't blow my shoulder out bench pressing. I wasn't paying attention to all the stuff that I'm doing now. It wasn't a bench press that I re-injured myself and completely tore my labrum. But anyway, the thing is that if you have any injuries, you have to do this stuff. Absolutely have to do this. So I hope this really helps. And if you don't have injuries, you will avoid all injuries. Your shoulders will get super strong and stable. I can overhead press 250 pounds easy because I've built up the stabilizers all around it. And that's my goal for you too. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the message. I'd love to hear from you and I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.